state. So I'm a senior foreign service officer. I've just come from serving 3 years, commuting to work past the Great Pyramids of Giza every morning, which is true. I did do that. I was the Minister Counselor for Political and Economic Affairs at the American Embassy, and have seen a good deal of Europe and North America as well. So, what I'll do is talk a little bit about the programs we have to offer in the State Department, internships and career-wise, but I think I'll leave most of the time for questions, because that's usually the most useful for you all. Anyone who didn't get a brochure, I apologize, I didn't know how big the crowd would be. All of the materials that you have are available online at our website, which I'll have up on the screen shortly, www.careers.state.gov. Those brochures are there as PDF files. If you want to download them, they're there for you too. So, I have these 3 slides up because these were my 3 previous postings just before coming here. I mentioned Egypt. I served for 8 years in Oman, 3 different tours, a beautiful country in the Persian Gulf, and then Samarra was part of my territory in Iraq. So, why would you be interested in the Foreign Service? Anybody here ever lived, worked, or studied abroad? Most of you, great. So, you understand, I think, immediately part of the allure, which is living and working abroad. So, if you're interested in a career that will allow you to live and work abroad, to learn a foreign language, to immerse yourself in foreign cultures, and to serve your country on the front lines of its defenses, then the Foreign Service and State Department might be something for you. I stress the public service aspect of it because it is a service, whether it's foreign service or civil service, both of which exist in the State Department. So that's a picture of old Stockholm. That's where I'll be going. It's a little bit different from to Crete. Anyway, how do you get to the State Department? There's a couple of ways, and probably one of the more accessible ways to you all as students is through our internship program. A good number of you got the internship brochures. If you didn't, again, go to our website. All the information is there under student programs. Our internships are designed for juniors and seniors as undergraduates and for graduate students in their first year. It is not designed for students who are going to be graduating and not going back to school. So that's one thing to keep in mind. It's for American citizens because you're going to get a security clearance in order to serve at one of our embassies abroad or at the State Department. We have about 1,000 of these internships every year. Half of them will be in Washington, D.C. at the State Department. Half will be abroad at one of the 65 different embassies and consulates that we have, from Beijing to Caracas to Cairo to Montreal, all over the world. So it's a little bit different on the internship side. We also have fellowships, the most famous of which is probably the Presidential Management Fellowship, which leads to careers in the civil service part of the State Department, with the Pickering Program and the Wrangell Fellowship as well. All right, so as I said, about 10,000 people will apply for these, or I didn't say that, but there are 1,000 internships, about 10,000 will apply. So if you get one of these internships, you're in the top 10% of the country as far as we're concerned, and in terms of what we're looking for. So what are we looking for? State Department interns will work pretty much immediately as junior Foreign Service officers or junior State Department civil service officers. That is, you will immediately walk in and take on substantive responsibilities. As the chief of the political section in Cairo, at any given summer I would have 4 or 5 officers rotating out, going on leave at any given time. I took my interns and put them right into those portfolios. So it's very serious work right from the beginning. Could be working on the Human Rights Report, could be working on specific issues like trafficking in persons, could be any one of the number of issues that we were tracking at that time. If you're interested in serving next summer, don't wait. The deadline for internship applications is November 1, right around the corner. It's all done online. Again, go to the website, check out what's involved, but really don't delay. If you're at all interested in next summer's internship, start today, I would say, the application process. In your application, one of the most important parts of it will be your statement of interest. You'll find the application to be reminiscent of other internship applications that you filled out. It'll ask for your GPA and your academic history and where you'd like to go and sort of the check-the-box kind of questions. But the statement of interest is your chance to shine for the people that will actually be hiring you. that will be the first piece of work that they will see you do. So I advise you to take your time on it. It's limited, it's 2,500 characters, about a page. And one thing I'm happy to do is review it for you. If you have a draft of your statement of interest, you'd like me to look it over, I'll have my contact details up here, but shoot me an email, send it to me as a Word document. I'll be happy to review it. I won't write it for you, but I'll tell you where I think it's strong and where it's maybe not so strong. All right, civil service. So in the State Department, we basically are divided into two services, the civil service and the foreign service. The civil service is a career whereby, like any other civil servant in the federal government, you'll spend most of your time in one place, and in this case at the State Department in Washington, D.C. Civil service jobs are competed via usajobs.gov. You may have been to that website already. They are almost all in the United States, although a lot of these positions will require you to take temporary duty travel abroad. So you can travel quite a bit in civil service jobs at the State Department. One very good way to get into the civil service, as I mentioned earlier, is via the PMF, Presidential Management Fellowship Program. Very competitive program, but a great way to get in. The number of jobs is very limited. The State Department will only offer about 40 to 50 civil service positions a year, and they'll be very competitive. You'll be up against returning veterans who will obviously have preference, as they should do. You'll be up against people with a lot of experience. Most importantly, perhaps, is the competition from people already within the federal government, already working as civil servants, so they're in the system and they know how it works. So it can be very tough nut to crack to get into the civil service. Doesn't mean it can't be done. I'm just being honest with you there on the civil service side. On the foreign service side, there's a very unique intake method. It has nothing to do with resumes or usajobs.gov or even having a college degree. If you want to be a foreign service officer, all you need to be is at least 20 years old and less than 59, an American citizen who's willing to serve their country anywhere in the world. That's it. That's it. That's all you need. So you take this exam. This written exam is given 3 times a year. We just finished giving it in early October. It'll be given again in February. It doesn't cost a thing except a day of your time to take it. You can register for that exam online. Again, all the information is at the website. It's a very tough test. About 15,000 to 20,000 people will take this test in any given year. We'll end up hiring about 800. There's a 3-step process to the testing process, though. It's not just the written exam. If you pass the written exam, you'll be asked then to submit documents for what's called the Qualifications Evaluation Panel. If you pass the written exam, we know you're smart. But we want to know more about you as a person. So we will review your CV, so to speak. We will ask you to tell us about yourself in terms of your leadership experience. We will ask you about your academic history. We will ask you for the languages that you speak. We will want to see what skills you're bringing to us, to the Foreign Service. And if we like what we see at that second stage, you'll be asked to come to the third and final part of the testing process, which is called the oral assessment. And the oral assessment is where you'll spend, again, another day, this time either in Washington or one other U.S. city. The written exam is given all over the world, at embassies and American cities all around. Up in Austin, it's usually given at Austin Community College. That might be the closest place for y'all. But the orals are only given in Washington and then usually one other city in the U.S. This time it's going to be San Francisco. The oral exam is a day-long process where you will be with a group of 4 or 5 of your cohorts, people that have also passed the written and the QEP, trying to get into the Foreign Service. You will be assessed throughout the day by a group, by a team of senior Foreign Service officers who are assessors, who will be looking at you and how you work in group settings and in one-on-one interview settings, as well as how well you write. So that's the testing process. Again, pretty easy to start the process, very difficult to get through it. The good news, though, is we will hire 800 people, and not every private corporation is going to be hiring 800 people, for example. So, although it's a rigorous process, I commend you to at least give it a shot. Why not take the exam? It doesn't cost you anything except some time, and you'll see where you stand. Okay. When you